Oye, mi gente, you know who this is. I just want to talk to you a little bit, briefly about this season that's coming up and how it can affect those of us who are living with mental disabilities or psychiatric disabilities, if you will. It's very important that you keep yourself safe, and as we know, living with a mental disability can be stressful enough as it is. However, historically, the holidays have always placed an extra added pressure upon us. A lot of times, we're feeling already depressed and isolated, and then it's compounded by all of the holiday, fanfare with people, with their families and shopping and, all the different things that a good number of us, aren't able to participate in due to financial constraints. A lot of people with psychiatric disabilities on small incomes, and a lot of us are already isolated, so we don't really do gatherings, groups, families. A lot of us, not all of us, but a good deal of us. So we have a lot of those issues that we deal with, and sometimes what can happen in the midst of all of that stress and pressure and feeling isolated, it can compound your depression, and that is when you're really vulnerable. That's when we're really vulnerable to things like suicide, self-harm, destructive behaviors like drinking or overeating or oversleeping, just doing things to excess because we're feeling bad and we're not able to really, address it like we want to. So that's why I want to encourage all of us to, find ways to keep ourselves safe. If you need to have additional therapy sessions or take additional walks or, train rides or bus rides or whatever you need to do to relieve the pressure, it's important that we keep as much stress off of us as possible, because just like anyone with any other illness, stress compounds things and it makes it worse. And I just want to say, using myself for an example, you guys see me making all the videos and talking about all the different subjects and all this thing like this, but I'm no guru. I'm no superhero in any way, and I'm striving for my mental health recovery just like anyone else like that, just like all the rest of us that are dealing with these things. I have to be careful for myself because, and I need to say this, it's really important that, especially when you're dealing with depressive episodes, and depression can be attached to any of the mental illnesses. A lot of the mental illnesses, regardless of the diagnosis, depression is a part of it. And often we hit those moods, but you can't trust it. What I mean by that is, you can get so depressed and you can be in that moment, and when that depression is hitting you really hard like that, you feel like everything is black and there's no other way than to hurt yourself, to kill yourself, jump off the platform, jump in front of the train, take all your pills, whatever. But generally, what happens is, over time, that feeling will lift. So you can't trust that feeling, and you have to challenge it. I can't say enough about that. If I didn't challenge every time I felt a suicidal thought come, I wouldn't even be here. There would be no videos, there'd be no channel. We have to learn how to challenge those thoughts, those feelings, how to talk about it, and it's just so important that, and for those of you out there that, watch my channel and listen to the videos, and maybe you went over to the new community, mental illness in Black America, and you've seen some of the people talking about their situations, and you're feeling bad and you have not gotten help. I want to encourage you to not go any further like that. it's time. You've been watching, you've been feeling bad, you've been going through whatever you're happening, going through with your depression, feeling bad, confused, whatever symptoms that you're getting. It's about to be 2015, and it's time to get in there and take care of yourself. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It really means that you're a strong person. It takes a strong person to realize, I'm having some problems and I need help. And there's nothing wrong with it. So many times, we can go through a lot of things, and basically, to me, mental illness in a nutshell is when your brain has a dysfunction to it, just like a person, if they have diabetes, they have some sort of metabolic dysfunction and they can't process, things in their body as they should, and they need help with medicines or whatever. It's the same thing. It may not be medicine that you necessarily need. It may just be therapy, one-on-one or group therapy, but you've got to do whatever it is that you need to do to be better and to be healthy and to do it in a good way. So don't keep walking around like that, because mental illness can kill you. And what I mean by that is, you can feel so bad for so long that eventually you get tired and you just like, I can't do this anymore. And that's when suicide can happen. And a lot of times it happens when people are isolated. It's just so important that you go and speak with a therapist, you get a diagnosis, you find out what it is you're dealing with. And not only the one-on-one, but group therapy is amazing. I love group therapy because I get to sit there with other people and talk and listen and learn and share, and it's just a wonderful bond. And I've really come to love the people that I'm there with, and the doctor, the clinical psychologist that works with us. It's an amazing sense of community. It's so important, that you find others that are going through what you're going through to connect. And even if you have to reach out to a family member or a friend, they may not be going through it exactly, but someone else that can support you. What I'm basically trying to say is to reach out for that support, because when you have a mental illness, it's like your thoughts and your feelings, they are hard to regulate. So like, for most people and for a lot of people, depending on the diagnosis. So it's like, if you experience something, maybe you get a disappointment or whatever, a person that doesn't have a mental illness, they probably could bounce back from it pretty well. But depending on where you are at the moment when that strikes, if you do have a mental disability, it can be so traumatic to you that your reaction can be like a 20, and maybe what happened was only really on the level of a 2, but your mind doesn't process it that way. And then your reactions in terms of your emotions and feelings, they can just be totally blown out of proportion, where again you can't regulate them, and then your thoughts, you get paranoid, or you're not looking at things realistically. It's crazy. If you could get in my head sometimes, and I know this is kind of hard to grasp if you watch the videos and logically I speak or whatever, but there are a lot of times stuff is not logical in my head. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm stressed out, or not to even be stressed. I guess when I make these videos, you're catching me in a good moment. But, it's just hard. Sometimes I need help with just my daily things at times, just trying to take care of myself. And sometimes I can't or have difficulty making proper decisions, or just doing, oh my gosh, it's just a list of things. But again, that wouldn't be readily seen if you're just looking at videos, because you're only getting a few seconds of my life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that I'm able to be coherent and cohesive enough to do. And sometimes I really marvel that I'm able, or have been able, to make some of the videos. I've been noticing some more deficits where it's like hard for me to pay attention longer and concentrate. So that's why I haven't been making it. And plus I've been feeling really bad. So that's why I haven't made any long videos or in-depth videos about some of the subjects that I have been talking about. I'm hoping that I'll be better. So maybe for next year I can get some of those videos out. But and even sometimes, not just biologically that something's wrong with your brain, but sometimes environmental things happen. Growing up can really be hurtful, and that can help compound and contribute, to your mental disability. If you had traumas and things like that in your life, like for me, my dad wasn't there, and that hurt me so much. That was super traumatic for me. Some people are able to deal with that and have dealt with it fine, but I felt completely lost growing up. I was already getting abused by my mother and other family members, and so to have fear and to be afraid and had no one to talk to. And I think that why it was so easy for the abuse by others to happen, because they probably could see I was isolated and I didn't have anybody to talk to. So when people hurt me, I thought, for one, that this is just what happens. And then when I did eventually, much later, start realizing something was wrong, I had nobody to talk to. So it just hurts. And the fear that, like, sometimes I'm so terrified, and sometimes I'm afraid even just living by myself, and sometimes the paranoia is so bad that it takes everything I have even to go outside and go someplace. You have no idea, but you keep managing and doing the best that you can, and it does get better, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, I'm not even gonna lie to you. And some people just say, forget it, I can't do this, but you gotta think about, if you just throw in the towel like that, the people that you hurt. Because even though it may seem like you're really isolated, nobody's there, nobody's listening, nobody cares, nobody loves you, somebody actually does. And if you leave here, you'll hurt somebody. So it's a lot of things to think about. And I know it's a lot to weigh, and then some people say, well, I don't want to do medication or whatever. I mean, I'm one of the people that can't do medication. I've tried almost everything they have, and my body just can't tolerate them. So, but I know people who do well on medication. Sometimes it's a little challenge to find the right one that works for you, whatever. But, for me, my method is going to psychotherapy, talking to a counselor, and then going to group, and alternative things to relax me and de-stress me or whatever. But I just wanted to encourage you out there to do whatever you need to do for yourself that's healthy. In particular this holiday season, please don't hurt yourself, please don't kill yourself. I want everybody to make it over to 2015. As soon as I can, I'm going to do the next vlog. Project Wellness, the Black Man's Mental Health blog, that'll be coming up soon. And you guys can check us out over in communities also, and mental illness in Black America. And I want to shout out to my mentor, Sean Maxim. I know I'll probably never meet you, whatever, but thank you, man. I love you. You have really blessed my life. I mean, I have several mentors, but I shout them out all the time. But I'm so grateful to Sean and to Robert. I love you too, Papa. I mean, thank you so much. You guys really inspire me. And there's several other people that I shout out all the time, but I wanted to give a special shout out to my two guys here that really blessed me and encouraged me a lot. And thank you, Soledad, for all you do. Soledad O'Brien, man. Okay, it's almost 15 minutes, so I'm going to let it go. And I know this was a little bit of a ramble, but I just wanted to say this stuff. All right, talk to you later. Take care. About this season that's coming up and how it can affect those of us who are living with mental disabilities or psychiatric disabilities, if you will. It's very important that you keep yourself safe. And as we know, living with a mental disability can be stressful enough as it is. However, if you're really vulnerable, that's when we're really vulnerable to things like suicide, self-harm, destructive behaviors like drinking or overeating or oversleeping, just doing things to excess because we're feeling bad and we're not able to really, address it like we want to. So that's why I want to encourage all of us to, find ways to keep ourselves safe, Oye, mi gente, you know who this is. I just want to talk to you a little bit, briefly. Historically, the holidays have always placed an extra added pressure upon us. A lot of times, we're feeling already depressed and isolated, and then it's compounded by all of the holiday, fanfare with people, with their families and shopping and, all the different things that a good number of us, aren't able to participate in due to financial constraints. A lot of people with psychiatric disabilities, small incomes, and a lot of us are already isolated, so we don't really do gatherings, groups, families. A lot of us, not all of us, but a good deal of us. So we have a lot of those issues that we deal with, and sometimes what can happen in the midst of all of that stress and pressure and feeling isolated, it can compound your depression, and that is when